Hello everyone, my name is Silverplayer, and today we're gathered in order to talk about Demon Souls, especially the brand new gameplay demo that has been showcased in the last PS5 showcase, if I pronounce that right. Basically, the last time Sony communicated on this was on September 16, and we have a brand new trailer featuring some gameplay, some cutscenes, and some various encounters for the later game that we're about to have. So what I will do today is that I will try to watch the trailer with you. Bear in mind I already watched the trailer. This is not a reaction video or something like that. It's kinda more analysis oriented, if you want, because I have a bunch of things to say. I don't pretend to have some very original thoughts on the game or even some unique information that no one have, but I do want to exteriorize what I think is going on with this remake and what we can expect from it. So without any further ado, I propose that we start watching things out if needed. So, first thing, don't worry, we're gonna pause a bunch of times in this video. So, first thing we see is the introduction cutscene from the Nexus. Particularly the cutscene that you get once you either defeated Vanguard or not whatsoever. It's more the cutscene you get when you die. And if you played the original game, spoiler, you know that you die. One of the obvious first things that you can see with the Nexus now is that it's much darker. One thing can be said, and that is sure, is that lighting makes a fuck ton of difference here, and I think this is great because it really shows that lighting will improve so much in Demon Souls. Some may be attached to the old lighting in the original Demon Souls, but it's very bright. It doesn't have a lot of shading, or at least, you know, it's not very pretty to look at, especially now that it has aged a little bit.
Soul of the lost withdrawn from its vessel.
You can also notice, it's exactly the same camera shots from the game. It's almost a one-to-one reproduction. So here we can also notice that the archstones that you can see in the Nexus are very much more detailed. And one question that everyone will ask if they have played the original game and are looking forward to the remake is, will the northern limit be included? And as far as I can tell, we have not much clues. I think it's fair to say that they can do that, but I will explain why I think they didn't show it.
Let strength be granted so the world might be mended.
So we can see the maiden in black.
So the world might be mended.
What we can also notice is the beauty of this remake as a whole. The details on the armor, the particles, everything. So here there is a detail in that trailer especially that makes me think that we could see the northern limit, and I want to explain my reasoning behind that, even though we don't have a direct confirmation. So as you can see, there is a sort of bluish or light tint that is appearing in front of each archstone. So here we have Boltaria, here, even if it's hidden by the statue, we have Stonefang. Here is the Shrine of Storms, if I'm not mistaken. Here should be the Valley of Defilement. We know that Latria is around here, and here is the Broken Archstone. But unfortunately, the trailer fades to black before we can even see a slope coming in front of the Archstone. So my reasoning behind that is that Sony is kind of trying to hide the Archstone by any means, because why fade to black before even showing that the Archstone could possibly be here? Some of you might say, and they wouldn't be wrong, that it's done for the sake of rhythm, that it needs to quickly go to the next part, that is a gameplay showcase. But my reasoning is this kind of habit to cut things out and quickly change to the next shot is more likely to happen if the next thing is not as long as a gameplay showcase, because the gameplay showcase is most of the actual trailer. My point is that they could have added the northern limit, and they are keeping it as a surprise, because maybe they don't want us to know just yet that what they have done. They're probably keeping it as a surprise for us to discover once the game is out. From what we know, there is barely anything to work with on the northern limit other than maybe concept arts, the skeleton, you could say, of the map, the geometry and the overall basic look and the idea behind it. This is present, but there is no NPC, there is no boss, there is no music, there is not really much lore developed into this place, so there is a whole world to create. It's a ton of work. It's even so for a remake that is already trying to improve so many things, as we will see just right after. But even though that seems to be a really hard thing to do, and when you consider what they have already done with the rest of the game, I do think that it's going to appear. We'll see. I tend to be hopeful with this particular remake because I love Demon Souls. That's also why I'm doing this sort of analysis. So right after, we are granted with the gameplay. So here we can see our character, and right off the bat you can already see what Bluepoint was talking about when they said that they want to up the level in video games industry and visuals. There's really a lot of details. Also, there is a more fluid transition between animations, and this is going to be so good in my opinion, because it's basically fixing one of the flaws of Demon Souls on the PS3. That is the game being kind of janky in pretty much all of its moments. The animations are very stiff and they don't connect very well, and this is something that seems to be absent from that gameplay demonstration, because things are so fluid. By the way, it's using the animation to jump over little barriers. I don't know if I can call them barriers, but it's using that animation that you only use once or twice in the original game, and that is also quite odd to trigger. Maybe we can hope that they did that in more parts. Also, the falling is no longer like you have a parachute. Something I do like in terms of details, and I think we are gonna thrive on the remake with that, especially in the later parts of the trailer, but you know, on the game overall, we can see that there is a ladder, and also judging by the angle of the ladder, it's probably broken. But you see, that's what I mean by details. It's not just the fact of having rocks or skeletons or anything like that. It's not just having objects for the sake of showing off the number of polygons. What I mean by detailed, the ones that explain something. Because in the original, you just fall off the bridge and never come back. As much as it makes sense, it can be considered somewhat cheap, because it's impractical. Why would you go down there? Where do you access this part of the map if this was supposed to be a real place? This can be an explanation. There is a ladder, you're supposed to climb it, but now it's broken, so you can't. That's the kind of detail that I like. It explains so much things. It's obvious, but that's the kind of limitations that Demon Souls on PS3 had, and that Demon Souls on the PS5 will not. Again, it's so fluid in the animation. I don't know if the trailer is in 60 FPS or if the whole game will be. Probably not, honestly. But that's not really what I'm here for, because I'm here for the game itself, the universe, the gameplay somewhat, the music, the sound design, everything around it, not especially frame rate. So again, beautiful environments, and our first enemy, that is a one-on-one recreation of the one we saw. We can also see brand new animations for the backstab, and also we will see later on for the parry and the riposte. It will have so much impact on the game because, in my opinion, the animations are more Dark Souls 1 inspired than Demon Souls 1. What I do mean by that is that they are more clear, they are sort of more exaggerated, but that's for the better. Because by doing so, it makes the gameplay more readable. It's easier to understand both for the player and for an outside spectator. We can also see, in my opinion, this can be seen as a mark of respect. You can see that Bluepoint tries to honor the design of Demon Souls, because this arc stone that acts as a teleportation point and checkpoint sort of in the levels of the game, if you're not familiar, this is the exact design. They even reproduce the shape of the skull. The idea is here they reproduced exactly the same thing. So I think, aside from a couple of redesigns of course, we can expect at least the same thing. So next up, you can wonder if this is edited or not. Maybe we can expect some fast loading times. I do think that at least for this section of the game, you can expect it to be a real-time loading, because there's no way that they didn't put all of this in the same area. They added so much details on the side that weren't here in the original, and this particular enemy, this is very interesting to me, because if you watch closely to its mouth, you can notice that he is grunting and that he has facial animations. That's something that didn't happen in any other Souls games, pretty much. They don't really have detailed facial animations. This game will have facial animations for pretty much any human that is capable of emotion. This means that NPCs will probably have facial animations. Finally, it's not a big deal in the Souls series, but if you've played them, you know that there are no facial animations whatsoever for pretty much any NPCs. The exceptions are very, very rare, except for Sekiro. Actually, they bothered to do that. Let's continue. So again, I'm repeating myself, but this is really beautiful. Something we just noticed: the roll animations as well are much faster. You have a more precise as the idea of when you will be invincible, and also there is something, the distance on which you roll is much shorter, so it makes for more precise movement. I wonder how they are going to manage the platforming in Demon Souls, because there was quite a few. It wasn't a big part of the game, but surely it wasn't the greatest. I wonder how they will manage that, how you can jump, if you can do a plunging attack. I wonder how they will handle these aspects of the game, but we'll see later. So the sound design as well is really satisfying. So progressing further into the level, here we can see those environments that were in the original. More enemies. I wonder if they changed their health pool because they didn't die in one hit, or I think it's just for the sake of demonstration or gameplay showcase. So here we are just in front of Vanguard's room. They even put some carpet and some custom sound for it. We're about to see the Vanguard. So the Vanguard, it has changed quite a bit. You can see that there are so many physics on his body. He has a sort of body flailing around, his chains, his cuffs, you could say, maybe. His jaw, too. And he just died to the Vanguard. So here we will have a quick succession of pictures from the rest of the game. So here we can see the armored spider from the Stone Fang tunnel. We can see so many things here. So obviously the spider webs are covering the place. There are bodies in the web talking about details that tell something. We can have finally the Tower Knight and clearing some potential misconception around him. So we can see his size is just as big as in the original game, just as threatening in my opinion, and what everyone was talking about when we first saw him was the Lighten and the look of Boltaria, and I think that it reinforces one of my theories. I might not be the only one who has made up that theory, but in my opinion, what Bluepoint would be able to do with this remake is give World Tendency. World Tendency is a main mechanic of the game for those of you that might not be familiar with Demon Souls. Bluepoint might be about to enhance greatly this mechanic by giving it a physical representation in the world, because as you know, World tendency affects drop rate, the difficulty of the game, some certain enemies spawning, or NPC's quest. I do think that Bluepoint can do even more by shaping the environment depending on the world tendency. We can see a bright, very bright and sunny Boletaria in the cutscene, and I do not think it's just a poor transition from cutscene to gameplay. I think that this can be about the general world tendency. The lighter is your world tendency, the brighter will your world be, and the darker, obviously, the more gloomy, depressing, if you want, your world will turn. Also, something we can see behind the Tower Knight is the traditional fog wall, but not any fog wall, because if you're familiar, you know that it's the fog wall that you can only traverse if you've acquired some archdemons' souls. And behind that is the rest of Boletaria. But we can also see that the fog is much denser, and this is the kinds of visuals that Demon Souls from the PS3 couldn't hope for. This is a great enhancement. It visually shows why you wouldn't want to go there. You can't see shit. You can't see shit. And if you have to deal with a dragon, and you can't even see it, oh boy, this is going to be a nightmare. This, again, the fog, the look of the dragon when you compare it to the stiff puppet that was the dragons in Demon Souls. Maybe we can expect so many changes in their behavior that makes them more believable as dragons and as defenders of Boletaria. Latria too. Latria, sorry if your ears are getting hurt in this video, but I am so happy with this game. The look of the gargoyles too, the heart too, the heart of Latria that is here. For those of you that have followed the trailers of Demon Souls, the discussions on that, there are many people that complained about the Flame Lurker redesign that is kinda, and I have to agree somewhat, it's more looking like Diablo than Demon Souls, and I think it's fair to say that Bluepoint has heard this criticism and maybe has tried to make a compromise, because if you ask me, this face is different, especially the jaw. It's more similar to the dismantled burnt flesh and bones from the original than the very rocky. The design has been slightly tweaked because they understood maybe that this wasn't very appealing to everyone. The boss room for the Flame Lurker might have changed drastically, but for the better, because if you look, this kind of view that we have, it's the Dragon God. I don't know how you're supposed to get to his boss room, but maybe some kind of stairs that you can seeing the columns and the high point that it gives on the Dragon God, you might be able to descend into his arena. My point is, you can see the fucking Dragon God from the Flame Lurker's boss room. The scenery on the Shrine of Storm seems to be just on point with the lightning striking the dead tree to make it even more appealing visually. This is also something that I really like. They've added a new move, because this wasn't a thing. Originally, she had a couple of melee attacks and the ability to throw spider webs and the fireballs at you, but she didn't have this ability. This ability, she spills sort of oil and lights it on the fire, preventing you, by the way, from cheesing her by exploiting her AI by staying very close to her. What that means is that potentially Bluepoint has given every single boss well-deserved changes in their behavior and their way to attack you. Bosses like the Adjudicator, the Dragon God, pretty much, except for Astrea, all the bosses in the Valley of Defilement, all those bosses are not very entertaining. This shows that they can potentially become so much more interesting past their visual design and the title screen. So, as you might have understood from this little sort of analysis, you can guess that I am pretty hyped for this Demon Souls remake. I'll probably buy a PS5 because of it. I probably have no money left because of it. At least I'm happy. If I can't have MediEvil 2, I can have Demon Souls. I think the original game is going to be improved in so many ways. We will see some changes. Of course, changing bosses can be so interesting. The look of the area, the potential of new ways to explore the area, world tenancy that we have yet to see how it will work, the potential of having northern limit. I genuinely think that I am in for my money with this remake. I hope you enjoyed this little sorter analysis. I hope it wasn't too annoying to hear my voice for, I don't know now, maybe half an hour or more. For those of you that are wondering what the fuck I'm doing, I am being lazy as usual, but I am sort of working too on some other videos. It's just that now is not the perfect time because of how little free time I will have in the next few months. But yeah, I am not stopping my videos, especially not on MediEvil, because I have a promise to uphold. So I hope you enjoyed the video. See you on November 19 with maybe videos on Demon Souls. Bye.